Welcome back, eSIMstudios. The OnePlus 15 case review marathon continues. So we have the Tudia MergeGrip case here for the OnePlus 15. Now, if you're interested in this, you can get this on Amazon. I'm going to put a link down in the description. This is the navy blue one. However, they do have different colors. They have this, actually, I guess technically it's called indigo blue, but it looks navy blue. They also have a black color, and they have a green lily, which is sort of like a mint green. And then they have a pine green, which is a forest green, darker shade of green. And then they have a purple. So that one is kind of pinkish purple, but it would look good. I got the indigo blue because I got a ton of black cases. I wanted something a little different. So that's why I got the blue. Definitely not getting purple and or pink. However, the light green, the mint green looks good, and the black would look phenomenal on this black OnePlus 15. Now, I purchased this with my own money. You can grab it on Amazon. It's about $25. And again, link will be down below. But I've been using it for a few days, and I put it back in its packaging, make it look nice and neat. So let's go ahead and give this let's go ahead and open this. Now, it says military grade drop protection. It has a raised lip. Now, we'll check to see how far it does come up on the screen protector. The factory installed screen protector says it's a perfect fit with clicky buttons. And again, military grade drop protection. This is a dual layer, shock proof, slim, rugged, heavy duty, tough protective phone case cover. Lord, I think it covers it all. Now, one thing it doesn't mention anything about is MagSafe compatibility. However, we're going to plug the OnePlus charger in to see if it fits. And then I also have a wireless charger here that we're going to test out. And then I have a ring here if you're interested. We will get to that shortly, that you can basically make it a MagSafe. And we'll get to that here in just a minute. But let's go ahead and open this up and see what we got inside. Pretty basic, but look, that's all you need, right? Just give me the case. That's all I need. So they actually did something cool here. So if you take a look at this case, now I'm going to move the OnePlus 15 off to the side so we don't lose focus on this, but this is really cool. So they have a dark blue shade, but the camera cutout right here is black. It looks really nice. So let me zoom in. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If you can see, that is black. It looks really cool. And then the inner layer is black. So where the dark blue meets the black, you can tell. So it's kind of like a two-tone. It looks really nice. For the protection, if you want the most protection, typically you're going to want a dual layer. And what does dual layer mean? It means there's two separate layers. So typically with dual layer, what they will do, these case manufacturers, is the inner layer here will be a softer type of material, and the outer layer, the shell, is typically a harder material, right? So you get the best of both worlds when it comes to shock absorption, when it comes to that inertia, when, knock on wood, if and when your phone does drop and does hit the ground, you want the outer shell to prevent it from flexing, right? Because when glass flexes, that's when it breaks. But you want the inner part to be soft and squishy to absorb that impact. And I think this is what it gives you. I think a lot of you that do have the OnePlus 15 or considering getting the OnePlus 15, I think you're going to want to add this case to your case collection. Look, if you just have a few cases, right? I know most people probably just buy one, but tech geeks like us, we probably have a few, right? So I'm definitely the 0.01% of people that have a ton of cases. I have one that I use just for inside. I have one that I use if I'm going to be in the car, right, with MagSafe, just driving around or on a road trip. I have one if I know I'm going to be outside of the vehicle moving around on concrete. I want something like this. This serves almost as an all-purpose if it only had MagSafe, but we'll get to that in a minute. But check this out. It's dual layer, so you should be able to take this apart. Can you take this apart? You certainly can. So it comes apart. Oh, what is this? Tudia Tudia products. You know what you could do? I wonder if you could add a MagSafe inside here, and it's probably not going to fit well. Actually, we'll give it a try. We'll give it a try here in a second. I'm going to put this little magnet in here and then put this on. It may not fit properly. You know what I'm saying? Like when you put it back together, a seam might not be perfectly. This inner soft shell might not, this inner soft material might not fit perfectly in here, but we'll give it a try. As you can see, this is soft. This is shock absorbing, right? And here's the outer shell, right? Hard, gives you corner protection. So this is really nice. I like Tudia cases. I just don't use them that much for whatever reason. Typically, I don't like large, bulky cases, and this isn't that large and bulky, but I just don't normally use Tudia, but I do. I've purchased them in the past. But let's go ahead and check out. So this is a TPU material. It's made of TPU, right? Soft TPU. And not silicone. I don't believe this is. I believe this is TPU, not silicone, but it's a soft. You can have a soft TPU and a hard TPU. This is soft. And then this, I believe, is made of polycarbonate, PC, which is a hard type of material. But as you can see here, there is a nice big air pocket. I'm not sure if you can see through the camera lens. I can see it with my naked eye. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 air pockets, one in each corner. You have nice big cutouts there for camera protection. As you can tell, you have cutouts for the speaker, cutouts for the microphones at the bottom, and then a nice big cutout for the charging port. And then your buttons, are they labeled? Yes. So let's throw this back on. We're gonna slap that in there, the MagSafe ring, in just a second. Kind of see if we can modify it. But I'm not sure. Can you see that? Let's zoom in. You have a power button right here. It's labeled with power. Volume down is labeled with the minus sign, and then the volume up is labeled with the plus sign. So volume down, volume up, both are labeled. And then look at this camera protection. So you get that hard shell on the outside, protects that camera island, and then you have the soft material on the inside that protects that camera island. So you also have small, minimal, but you do have grips here on the side, on the right side, and then you do have grips here on the left side as well. And then the action button right there is not labeled, but it looks like it's easy to push. It is cut out, so that should be pretty easy to push. You have labeling on the inside, and let's go ahead and slap it in there, and then we will see what it looks like, and then I'll take it apart, throw that MagSafe ring in there, and see if we can modify it. So this is cool. I don't think they have a MagSafe version, so you might want to modify it. Now, this does, when you put it on, I typically slap in the right side first and then pop in the left side. This is a tight fit, so this is not loose by any means, and you got to use some force to kind of slap it on, put it on here. Let's see if I can get it just right. That's tight, and then that goes on right there. So looks very nice. Let me clean. I was using my phone today, so it's a little, got some fingerprints on there, but let's see if I can clean it up a little bit. Let's take a look at the camera module and see there is a decent amount of clearance. Not a lot, but just enough to protect your sensors in there, right? Just enough to keep those nice and safe. Again, does not have a huge cutout like some other cases, like this Nilkin case, have a ginormous cutout right there. This has got a cutout plus a big cutout on the outer shell, but the camera sensors are individually cut out on the inner shell, which is nice. It looks like plenty of room there for the charging cable. Nice precise cutouts. Let's see. It says it has clicky buttons. Let's give that a test. Well, they're silent, but it feels clicky. Hang on. Let me see if I can put this up to the mic. So the power is clicky. Let's hear for the volume. Very subtle. Let's try the action button. Yeah, it's a very subtle. Power is a little more clicky as far as audio, but you do get a nice feeling when you. It's a more feel click than sound click, if that makes sense. Now let's take a look at the screen protector. Does it come up and over? Remember, it says raised edges. It does not look like. Damn, there we go. I was gonna say losing focus. It does not look like it comes up and over the screen protector, but it is a very, very close fit, but still not enough to lift it up and raise it. So if you do have a glass screen protector, you should be okay using this case with a glass screen protector. It comes right up to there, but it does not appear to touch it, which is good. Now, let's see how much is it raised. Let's see how much it is raised up and over. You can see, if I tilt it this way, you can see 360 degrees around the screen. Just enough. It's not a lot, but it's just enough. Now, it is that inner shell. So remember that black inner part. This is dual layer, so that in that soft inner lining does come up and over the top of the device, meaning the screen of the device. Now, you can't necessarily squish it in and push it in, but I think you should be okay as far as as far as screen protection. Now, let's test the charger. I know the charger is going to be fine because I used it earlier, but just to show you, let's see what it looks like here. Prove that it works. Look, that's a deep hole. Like, this is not necessarily a thick case, but it's thicker than the cases I am used to using, which sometimes in the past would hinder these USB Type-C cables that have a fat head right here in the past. Not Tudia cases, but other typically cheaper cases sometimes would get. It's been a couple years since that's happened, but just like to test everything to make sure everything works. Yeah. So there you go. Charging. Now, let's test the wireless and see if we can modify it for MagSafe. So, I'm going to go ahead, plug this in right here so that wireless charger is activated. Now, let's see if we can, because here's the deal. If this case is too thick, sometimes if they're too thick, meaning wherever you place, if you have a really thick case, like, we're talking like a millimeter or two, but still, distance matters. If you have a real thick case that sits another millimeter or two off of the back of the phone, well, the further the distance from your wireless charger when you put it on there, it might affect the wireless charging, right? You want it to get as close as possible. Yep, it works, as you can tell. You get the wireless charging. However, there is no MagSafe. So, here's what we're going to do. Let's see if we can do this. Let me go ahead and take this out. Let's go ahead and take this apart. And I'm going to link in the description some of these MagSafe. You can get like a set of 3 or 5 for just a few bucks. Now, I don't necessarily want to peel this off and put it in here. I might return it. I might give this away. I don't know. I might need this in the future. I think this is my only one, but let's try and set it on there. Actually, let's see. Okay, so it goes like that. Let's put it right in the middle, just like this. Let's throw this case in there the inner shell real soft like, and we'll see if it even fits in there, because it might have a compatibility issue. I was thinking it might lift up. It might not fully sit in that shell, but it looks like it did. Like, I don't see, if you go around the seam here, I don't see any excess seam to where it looks like it won't perfectly fit together. It looks like it's all pretty good, no? Okay, so I guess that will work. It's just positioning, right? Now, let's throw the phone in there. Does it sit up, though? It kind of does. It feels like it's bubbly in there. Let's see if we can get this phone in there. It may not work. That's a tight fit. but got it to work. Does it look bulky from the back? Is there a bulge? Pause. I don't see one. Am I tripping? Does it look like there's a bulge back? Let's see. It may be too thick for the magnet to hit on the wireless charger. Let's see. Oh, it works, but will it slide off? Yeah, it'll slide. Damn, it'll slide off. What about a MagSafe accessory? See, it's too thick. It doesn't want to fit on there. Like, look. You see that? It found the magnet inside the case. This won't fall off. But look. Just a little touch and it comes off. So the best bet is going to be to put it on the back, the ring on the back, but you mess up how the case looks, right? And again, this does work on here, but it slides off. So I guess technically, man, that sucks. I guess you could put it on the back. I don't know. There might be other rings out there that are more magnetic than this. I think this is just a metal ring. I don't think this is a magnet ring. You might be able to find a magnet ring that makes basically a stronger connection with the other magnet on the other side, if that makes sense. I'll go ahead and link that down below. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't care. Maybe you do want to peel this, slap it on there, because I think this white comes off too, so it's a black ring. So maybe, if you don't care, be my guest. But that's the only downside to this case, is that it is not MagSafe. But if you don't care about that, or you just want to slap a ring on there, this is a good case. It will definitely protect your phone. So I would give it a go, meaning I approve. I think Tudia does have a protective case here that'll keep your OnePlus 15 from getting damaged. And it looks nice too. So just an all-around good case. So I'll link everything down below. If you got any questions whatsoever, give me a holler. Put a comment down below. I check them every day. If you got a question, hey, what about this? What about that? Or you think this would work with that? Let me know. Ask, that's what I'm here for. So I do appreciate the time. I really, really appreciate the time. And if there's a case you're thinking about getting, but not quite sure how it would look like on your black OnePlus 15, hit me up in the comments. Let me know. That's how I got some of these cases. People were saying, hey, can you review this? Can you review that? And here we are. So I'll see y'all on the next one. Have a good rest of the week. What am I saying? I'll probably see y'all tomorrow. What am I saying? Peace out.